There's two horses higher rated than him. There's Surname and there's Kemboy. They're all 7-year-olds. The three horses that are above him on this list are 7-year-olds. So they've got more improvement in him. And they're not just a year behind, they're a couple of years behind him. So, not saying that Altior's going to be on the decline. I like the fact they're probably going to go King George with him. You might as well have a little popped. You know, it would learn legendary status for me if he goes and wins a King George and then comes back and wins a third Champion Chase. That's what I think they will have to do with him this season. The Hendo comment sounded like he was going to go Christie Chase. Now that he knows he's going to have some competition there in Surname, it's not going to happen. Or I don't think it will definitely happen. Don't know where they'll get him a run, but maybe he will go there. But I just feel like if Henderson wants him to lose his status to get beaten, he wants him to get beaten in the King George. He wouldn't want to get beaten by Surname in the Christie Chase. That's part of it. And at the end of the day, a trainer should be training the horse and running him in the races, what's going to be the best prep for him, all those sorts of things. But I think that will probably happen with him. So we'll talk about Altior in his own right. This was the Tingle Creek at the beginning of the season, and this was just a stonking performance. I was there that day. It was windy, it was rainy as the race went off. No disrespect to the horses that are in behind, but they weren't going to be involved in this, especially in those conditions. Underso, for me, I know he's won lots of races, but this was one of the best performances I've seen Underso put in as well. It's just the tenacity of Altior in the class. So here you've got Underso, probably a little bit in front there, but when Altior decides to go, he decides to go. And this was obviously a test, this particular race, because of the conditions. He always does this at Sandown and bolts up the hill. He does look like a horse that will appreciate a little bit further, but that's him at the beginning of the season, and he always looks pretty smart at the beginning of the season. I'm not saying that he tails off typically as the year goes on, but he's good at Kempton again here. I just think at the beginning of the season, when we go through these clips and we'll watch him, his performances are much more rounded and they're much more convincing at the beginning of the season. I think he did have 5 runs last term, so you can forgive him for what happens at the end of the season at Sandown. He obviously still goes and wins it, but this is Altior. Just he loves it at Kempton, doesn't he? And I think where I was saying about the stamina thing, he's beaten some good horses in here, and we had Diego de Charmille behind. He likes it round Kempton. He's got to go for the King George. I think he could win a King George, but it's going to be very competitive, as I've already mentioned. I think he could win a King George. Can he win this King George? We don't know. Now, at Ascot, there was the suggestion about him jumping left, and Nicky Henderson's joked about the fact that we'll blame Special Tiara. He taught him that at Kempton. It wasn't anything that particularly worried me in the main, but it is obviously a slight concern. You don't want to be doing it. However, thinking of the Cheltenham picture, Champion Chase, it's a left-handed track. If you're going to jump one way, you want to jump left. Now, Fox Norton was in behind. He was having his reappearance before he went and ran against Surname in that Ascot race. This was pretty good from Fox Norton, I thought, but Altior's just not going to get beaten here, and this is a very nice performance. And like I said, I do like Fox Norton. I do think he's half decent, and he's put him to bed quite nicely. Now, in this Champion Chase race, I know we've already seen a clip of this, but I just like the fact that he's gone up against St Calvados early because he probably knew that maybe Min might go in front of him, all those sort of things. He's just alleviated all the doubt that he's in front, no one's going to go in front of him because no one's going to take on St Calvados at Cheltenham. He's probably caused himself to have to dig into real reserves here, but I think him staying on here is just all stamina. To be able to be up with that pace early on shows what an animal he is, and then to be able to stay on like that at the end is just fantastic. Now at Sandown, this is what I mean about seeing his performances maybe not dwindle, but they're not as impressive towards the end of the year. Nico sends him on quite early here, which isn't something we see him do very often with Altior, as you've seen in those other clips. Gets okay-ish into that flight there, but you can see that he's not pulled away. If anything, the distance has closed and quite significantly, but again, up this Sandown hill, he loves it, he flies up. It was just that, maybe that a bit of a tired horse, but it's this staying on at the latter stages of the races. He does want a bit further now. He'll get away with it at Cheltenham, but I don't think he'd get away with it in Cheltenham in a Gold Cup. So, cannot win a Gold Cup for me. I reckon he could win a King George and then go back and win a Champion Chase. And if he gets beaten a King George, then he'll just go back to the Champion Chase anyway. But for me, I think he will be going to the Champion Chase this season. Obviously, the big sticking point is if he goes and wins a King George and he wins it comfortably, then you go for the Gold Cup. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. At this point, as it stands, I think he could win a King George. He'll at least be competitive in a King George. I don't think he'd win a Gold Cup. So Champion Chase, the third time for him. Immortality lies and awaits for Altior.